Is that? Is she running at that? She's not taking on voices, no?
I'm sure it's right.
You don't want that to come on tonight?
I don't see a thing was in there. What about Shannon?
Right, folks, here we are in sunny Moville on the Costa del Foyle, and we're all gathered here. Who are we all? Well, some members of Foyle Sea Angling Club on this Wednesday in August, just in the week prior to the festival. And we know that some of you people on the night can remember Moville. Perhaps a lot more of you would remember leaving from Greencastle Pier in the old days, but due to the number of boats and the fact that people would have to clamber over 12, 13, 14 boats to get out to angling boats and all that, for the last number of years the club has left from this wonderful little pier here in Moville. Nice handy steps, step on the boat. You may have a longer trip down the Foyle, but the scenery's wonderful and the crack is good, and you can always get your tackle ready. So the purpose of this little trip tonight is just to take a nostalgic trip for those people who don't go to sea anymore, to take you down the Foyle waters just one more time and take in some of the sights that would be lodged in your memory and sights that you would never forget. So we're used to waiting 6, half 6. We're due to set off, but one of the features of our club is lateness. So when the rest gather, we'll be on the water and heading down the Foyle. See you. Now, half an hour later from when I was last speaking to you, our treasurer, Eimer Nicholas, arrived. This is Eimer here. Just want to say a word to you.
Well, I would just like to wish the 40th Foyle Sea Angling Festival every success this year, and I hope that it's that it cut. And I hope that its founding members will take pride in the work that we have done keeping it going up at McNamara.
And Paul McGee, who is our trip organiser and public relations officer and general purpose man over here.
Well, if there's anybody out there having a drink watching this, remember what they say, get it down, it'll do you good, but when you get it up, you'll feel much better.
Paul's son, Kevin here. Just say hello, everybody.
Hello, everybody.
And my own son, Cahar. And again, Paul's son, Marcella.
Son, Marcella.
Good, cut. Daughter
Can you
Marcella.
edit this, can you?
Say hello, Marcella. Right, that's the club. There are a few other members, but they're sleeping because it's too early in the day for them to get up. But we're heading to sea.
Right.
She should balance.
That's just the view of the evening sun there now, leaving the Moville Pier in early August 1997. See a bit of bunting up there on the shore for the festival. The regatta day just ended. And Moville Green and Montgomery Terrace looking beautiful as usual. People strolling about. Not only strolling about, but messing about in boats. The star of the show.
Very good. Not that big report,
Paddling about in canoes as well. Another water sport become popular here in recent years. And here now you might see what looks like cattle. I'm sure people would have remembered some of these fields along the shore would have had cattle in them 20 or 30 years ago, 40 years ago. This is Dan McGuinness's deer farm. Down just past Portdown. Down along the shore here we can see Greencastle and some of the large houses, spire of St. Finian's Church sticking above the trees there at Greencastle, and away in the distance it's the Warren Light shining out. Here is a beacon. That's the general direction that we're heading in this evening. We'll be heading a little bit more down the sea to try for see if there's any little magma on the Foyle. Right, we're stopped here at McGilligan Lighthouse. I don't know whether it's in focus now at the moment or not, but we're only a quarter of a mile off McGilligan Strand, the old Martello Tower over here, and the sort of cliffs of North County Derry there in the background. A few people wandering about on the shore, and a very famous bar between which and Greencastle. There is a kind of a fast ferry, slow ferry in the summer. Hasn't been working very well this year, but this area is soon to be crossed by a permanent ferry, we hope, linking one short mile between McGilligan and Greencastle, but really linking up peoples and places that have been quite apart. Every little island with 60 souls on it in the Hebrides can have a daily ferry link with all the other places, but here anybody in the causeway would have to travel the whole way down through the Mavati and onto the Derry before they would visit Greencastle or Moville. So if that comes off, it'll be good news. Looking away southwards here, all you can see is a haze, the foothills of the Sperrins, what we call my row area, where the River Row comes on a flat land, and again going further south and west, basically nothing but a heat haze. Actually, you should be looking up at Derry now in Dupont. But we're coming back onto the Donegal shore here with the Eskaheen Hills over Kevin's shoulder. And as we come on around now, it's all of a sudden just gone past from Biggest Point to Moville down to Ballybrack here in about 2 seconds. It's wonderful that the camera can transport you miles. But anyway, great voice. Looking on here on the shore again, it's in the shelter of the evening sun. Good evening to the next president of Ireland. And going straight ashore on here now, we're to the very, very famous white fishing port of Greencastle. Again, something peaceful and happy. And the evening sun, well known to fishermen of all sorts, trawler men, salmon men, and shell men, pot men, and crab men, and lobster men, rod men, and all sorts of fishermen. I was going to say poachers, but I don't think there are any of those anymore. And heading on to the north of Greencastle, we have the Castle Inn, and a whole lot of new housing development, houses for sale if anybody wants to buy one. The Burgos Castle, what's left of it, and again the twin Martello Tower on the west side of the Foyle, entrance to the Foyle, built to stop Napoleon coming into this country, and again the Fort Hotel guest house up there, and again further on, heading on down up towards, you can see Cruckness Smug there, and the fields, I was going to say harvest fields, some of them showing signs of silage cutting and others just grazing ground, and all the little houses and shrews nesting peaceful and happy. And right at the extremity down there, the first sight we've had of the lighthouse at Shrewve, Donegal Point, and just in line with the Warren at the moment. And further on down than that, we think there's looks to be a ship of sorts. Could be the Metal Man, is right. And that there is the entrance to the Foyle, takes you on out into wherever you want to go, Scotland, America, Canada, you name it. We're still waiting on these people to pull up mackerel. I don't know what's keeping them. Where's all these fish?
We're in the wrong spot. We're halfway up the Foyle again.
We're in the wrong spot. So often we're in the wrong spot.
I think we should be back.
We'll have another go in a different spot to see if we can see any of these wonderful foil mackerel. That's the kind of stuff that we would be looking for before we were heading sea angling in the good old days. But nowadays, seeing us, we're only out here for fun, and nobody here eats mackerel anymore. Put that one back for the Foyle Festival. Jim McDonald. The lovely little Foyle mackerel.
The little one.
It's the same one.
The same one.
Just hang on.
You did there, leave it on the lid.
Pass your rod around.
Somebody says we might need bait when we
Here's the
get.
next big one here now.
Yeah.
That's a good mackerel.
I'm not sure that one back.
We put this one in a
We'll keep
little.
that one for the pan for the dinner.
Aye. Come here, bye.
And Heimer joins the fun. Yippee! Good boy.
Your little Mike. Transatlantic liners, but the way the Foyle is developing now, Derry Port and Harbour is becoming a very popular destination for cruisers. And this year, from these lines, cruise ships, past. Everybody in that ship there has dollars to spend. I think we'll go out and sell them some fresh mackerel. Brings you back to the bumboat days. And remember where you saw it, folks? It's all happening at Moville.
We should get one of them for our club.
Why not? If the sponsorship keeps up.
Seaborn Pride. Seaborn Pride, that's the name.
All mackerel fishing has come to an end momentarily as everybody's standing aghast at this mysterious appearance laying down the Foyle.
Look at that, it's empty.
God, what's my wife doing on that? It's leaving.
I think the Foyle pilots are trying to catch up.
They're pushing it out.
They take the pilot off. Maybe he doesn't want to get off.
Swinging from the back.
He wants to stay on. Next port of call. What a sight on a sunny afternoon.
Marnie's not a sinner on the front of it. It's Panama. No, behind the glass. Bon voyage.
Castle Golf Club clubhouse, and the greens And a group of happy people over here near the Warren Light. All wishing that they were on the cruise liner, I presume. Again, the Warren is another well-known landmark on your way down the Foyle. Heading for Inishore Head, Road. We'll head down another bit. Cruise liner is just leaving the mouth of the Foyle. We have an Irish cruise liner entering the Foyle. That's
This is what she looked like when she was done up.
That's Paul McGee's joke. This is a working vessel, obviously. She needs a lot of work. Don't there? It's all part of the scene here. Shipping coming and shipping going and all the rest of it. We're still heading for... Right, we're down here now at Shrewsbury, and this would be one of our first places to stop off fishing on the Foyle in the last 8 or 9 years. I know the older style anglers may not be, well, they may be familiar with it, but I would say that the first port of call used to be out around the gas buoy and all that for endless supplies of dogfish. Rue is the Irish word for reef. Rocks run out on the water here, and this is wrasse ground and pollock ground. And if we were lucky this afternoon, we would see some of those. All pollock nowadays. When I was a wee fella in Moville, you never heard the word. All you heard was sheelagh and glashing. And you had gubbels, and you had malin roes, and you had tartans and glummies. You've got Hull Gorham and amongst them rocks somewhere, and Hull na Dovane. The Dovane would be the cormorants that you see flying about in the sky, the blackbirds. Hull na Dovane. We're just about in the last few minutes of sunshine here now, and as I say, normally we would get the first fish of any angling competition in the last 8 or 9 years. This would be where they would come up from. One of our anglers, Patsy Sweeney, used to say it's the only deep sea angling competition that he comes to where people go on an angle and hang on to the sheep wire at the same time. But that's how the times change. Anybody who went out and spent 5 hours out around the gas buoy now looking for dogfish will be 5 hours wasted, because we haven't landed any spur dogs in this competition in 7 or 8 years at least. So the kind of trends in fishing are changing.
Today.
It wasn't even me that caught it.
Where's me mommy?
The monster fish.
I'll just put that in my pocket.
Pocket-sized fish.
You did drop the rod with her, didn't you, Paul?
So she is leading the club at the moment, so I suppose.
You can pick it up.
You're a professional. So I never catch any fish out with that anymore. That's the way to do it myself.
That's it. Cameraman overboard. Oh, they're all directions now.
The big one's got away.
People keeping these wee white pollock to take home?
Yes, we are, yeah.
Environmentally friendly as well.
Environmentally friendly. Oh, yes. Look at that. That is a nice one, Marcel. Hold it up to the camera. Hold it up to
By the gills, that's it.
No, I want to
Grab
hold
it by
it.
the gills or it'll slip out. Look up this picture there, I just grab it there.
Professional.
Right, let's just leave it there.
That's a good shot.
Yeah, well,
Doesn't count, it's no hook.
Alright, then we'll put it back.
Don't kill everybody on the walk.
setting sun,
Pretty picture, all right.
just sitting above Rua Glen Gad on an August evening. We're down here at the Dutchman, and as I say, we're looking down at Malin, Glen Gad. A few of the headlands have only shown there, and to our left a wee bit the Glen Shore, Glenagivney.
There, mackerel.
The big rock that we're looking in at now is known as the Dutchman. I suppose it's just like a Dutchman of war upended. The stern high up in the air and the keeliver and the bowiver running under the water. Graveyard for some Greencastle trawlers down here. Scuttled, decommissioned. Also a rock that some ships ran up on in their time. But a great place for the pollock. This is our last port of call this evening because the setting sun tells you that the time's wearing on, even though the evening's nice. We might have a wee box of fish by the time we get home, and that's just a simple evening on the Foyle. Red onions. Red onions. Well, it's his lucky day. It's his lucky day. The birthday party is for the Foyle Angling Club, which commenced its life somewhere about 40 years ago. If somebody says 41, I'm not going to fight them. If somebody says 39, I might. Or at least 40. And some of us feel it and look it. But anyway, we have to really mark this 40th anniversary because some of the original and founding members of the Foyle Angling Club and indeed the Angling Festival, which grew out of it, are alive and with us and here tonight. And on the walls around about the place, there's a kind of an historical record, in some cases hysterical, but there's a kind of a record of the club through its early years. If I had the time and the patience and the money, the fees for doing all that kind of work weren't just up to standard. But let's say you sit in front of a microfilm screen and go through journals and you get misled quite easily by the price of cattle at Cairn Mart. Somebody who lost their turf stack in a big one that blew up suddenly out of Doris. You get distracted from what your purpose is by looking at all these wonderful things that happened on these shows. So, as I say, a few hours have gone, but there's a bit of a record there which people can look at later. It's the 40th year of fishing, and the club has had its ups and downs. I would say the glory years must have been the 60s, when all of the visitors from England and all that, and the ministers of state were here declaring how important the angling industry, or the angling, sport of angling was for the tourist industry. And let's say that was nice in its time. There's a newspaper cutting over there from 1969, which has nothing to do with sea angling, but I put it there as a kind of a marker because 1969, British troops on the streets of Derry, and just below it, Moville Marquee was going flat out on Moville Green. And, nobody at the time, I'm sure, knew or thought ahead of what was to come. But let's say, going through the 70s and the 80s, the angling carried on, but the growth had ended, and it kind of retreated from being a big international drawer of people to being a more localized Ulster type event. So, as I say, we're really here to look at the early days and to commemorate the founders of the club and to say thanks to them and others that we have done this 40 years. The format of the night is as follows. We have some stuff on video. So you've all been to the cinema before, or you've all watched a nice movie at home, and some of the best movies last 3 or 4 hours. Some of the best movies also have budgets of hundreds of millions of pounds. These movies were done on many budgets, but we're showing these first because as you try to look and study at the screen and what you see, it may jog a memory, and you may see a face, and it may bring back something from the last 40 years. There's better to come after that, of course. There is a buffet. These are good for those people who were invited here. The remainder, either during the buffet or whatever, we haven't actually worked it out. We're getting confused in our ways. Just to say, we would hope and pray that for a maximum of 2 minutes, so if anybody thought they had to go here and make way long speeches, we don't want the night to go into the morning. So after watching the movies and all the rest of it, if anybody has anything to say about the Foyle Singing Club or the festival, or what they've seen or what they've read, they're quite welcome to stand up and say something that lasts 10 seconds, definitely not 10 minutes. So I think with that, can we roll on to our first
McKinney's with it.
Keegan's just now. Go on, you know. Just pan on.
on the screen.
Still 1960, and then just zoom in on the title stuff.
shot of a young Neil Blaney minister with Bill McFerrin, and I'm not sure who the other person is. In 1959, Len Sinclair with a poor beagle shark caught on the Foyle. 1967, leaving Greencastle Harbour for the fishing grounds. At the weigh-in with Bill McFerrin, Paddy Keaveney and McLarkin. 1968 with Henry Cannon and John Short. 1961, the Kittiwakes Club fishing and taking loads of trophies away from the Foyle. 1960, and loads of familiar faces that fished the Foyle waters. 1966, Kittiwake with a cod. Here we have Lavertys and Boyds and Tates and Chadwicks. The year's 1966, and this is the organising committee of the Foyle Angling Festival. From the left, Tony Meehan, Patrick Hargan, Benny Doherty, and Kevin Durbin. But the year is 1966, and we have Boyds and Tates and McFerrins and others. Another shot from 1966 on one of the old Greencastle boats. (1966), Mrs. Helen Page with a skate weighing in at 128 pounds. Also 1966, and this picture is described as a clatter of taupe. The year is 1959, and I'm sure you could tell by the type of vessel that was taking this crowd of anglers to sea. Katie with one of those lovely critters from the deep. The year is 1960, and we have Katie McFerrin and Mrs. Boyd and Sammy Henderson and Mr. Boyd. Photographs courtesy of James Canavan. From Foyle Sea Angling events of yesteryear. And somewhere in this group of photographs you might spot James's wife, Mrs. Canavan. These photographs by James Canavan are ones that were on display in the Greencastle Maritime Museum as well. Very early days photographs. So again, once again, thanks to James and to the Maritime Museum for the loan of these photographs for this exhibition.
Outing that the Foyle Sea Angling Club had. And these, of course, are the fish that we brought home. They weren't all caught now by a rod and line. As a matter of fact, they were all caught by net. Having been out all day, we caught nothing. We were proud to display these in the evening. Do you want to name it? Well, was always proud of the gate, some very big skate being cut here down through the years. And this is John Healy, late John Healy. And late Edward Morris was playing them here.
Yeah, we come back and watch it.
Yeah, it's a very nice races.
And you're Tom Morris, right? The Bunny Baby competition, one of the first competitions held during the festival, during the earlier festivals. Some of these babies have babies of their own right now, nearly grown up. Father Rafferty, who was a brainchild behind the forming of the festival, with Mr. Kearney of Borfolta and Mr. Dodd of Paris. Gloria and Owen Gillespie, they were stationed in Delhi and the US Navy base. And Gloria and Owen fished here for a number of years, a number of competitions.
We have that one tonight.
Fishing aboard John Cunning's boat, 1959 festival. This was chairman of the Irish Federation of Sea Anglers, Mr. Saul.
Yeah, so we're seeing it all.
Got the first shark in Moville.
Reverend Fathers, ladies and gentlemen, President of the Ulster Provincial Council of Sea Anglers, and wife Katie, and fellow anglers, ex-anglers, former anglers, former secretaries, former chairmen, former treasurers, farmers, and everybody else, friends, and have I left anybody out? Anglers and wranglers. To wrap up the night, and I want to try and, I'm not trying to put you under pressure, but Mr. Ty has said that breakfast is the next thing on the agenda, so if you want to be here for breakfast, just hang about too long. But I would like to thank each and every one for coming here. Founder members and former members and current members. I didn't have time to sit down and prepare any wonderful speeches, so I'm not even going to attempt one off the cuff. But as I say, it's a marking time exercise. Whether, as somebody come up to ask me there, is when did this club start? I don't know when it started. I did study history, but my research skills are not just so wonderful as to pin that down exactly. We're taking 58 as being the beginning of the year because our brochure this year says it's the 40th Foyle Sea Angling Festival. And we're marking that occasion. Whether we'll be marking the 41st or the 45th or 50th, who knows. But as I say, I'd like to thank Mr. Ty and his staff for laying on the premises and laying on that wonderful spread of food. Again, as I say, we are under some sort of pressure of time, but I would like to first of all call on Father Rafferty to say a few words, because I can only associate Father Rafferty's name as being one of the kind of original people. If I'm wrong in that, he can point it out, but as I say, if he wants to say, again, a few brief words or if he has any memory or anything that he wants to say. And after that, I will call upon the President of the Ulster Provincial Council to say a few words. Thereafter, anybody else who wants to add anything to the end of the evening are welcome to do so, but just keep it as brief as possible. Otherwise, as I say, not only will we be paying for the rugby, but we'll be paying for breakfast as well. Okay, Father.
Well, I can now reveal now that I was the one who really conceived the idea, I suppose, and then with the help of many others, carried it to birth and fruition. And that was simple, a few words is what happened. Moville wasn't going as well as it was now. It wasn't going as well then as it was now, and we thought that we would try and do something. So sea angling seems an obvious thing of that kind. Festivals are all springing up. Father Keegan and myself here went down to Westport to see how they organised their festival. And we spent the day catching dogfish and about 2 or 3 fathoms of water. So we came back, having observed all that, we came back and said, we can do as well as that. We have the open sea here beside us now, plenty of boats and fish and everything. So there's a lot more that could be said, but anyhow, that's how it was regarded from the day. And one of the big jobs, of course, was to get publicity. Well, you see, how to be put on the map. What you're doing now then tonight, the kind of thing you attempt to do there, try and get publicity in the national press and put it out so people catch fish and so on. And if it would get up whale or some big fish, then right. And the result of all this was that the local people here dubbed us the Whaling Society. And anyhow, it took off. And it was good to see it still in existence, and people who have carried it on since have done a good job, and I'm very happy personally it's still good. So that's just one little thing. We had a club badge in the early days. You might have known that. The small little blue one, designed by Father McNamara, little fish on it, and we had it all right. Some of the members there didn't seem to know we had a club badge.
This man here, Paddy Ruddy, is aware of his existence and maybe has one, but can't lay his hands on it. But we'll research that one and maybe bring it out.
So that's it.
Thank you. We call upon Bill McFerrin. I'll call him Bill McFerrin because the title President of the Ulster Provincial Council sounds very witty and very heavy. So again, to say a few words, because he said he's no memory left, but I know that he's got fond memories of Foyle, because even though we didn't travel all around Ireland representing the Foyle Angling Club at sort of annual general meetings of the Irish Federation, Foyle was always represented, and as I say, there was this mysterious character who always stuck his name down as the Foyle member. So, the Foyle member, well,
I have the honour and pleasure to be a dairyman anyway. I was born in the city of Derry a long time ago, it seems. 1918, when peace came. But it's always been associated with the Foyle and with things in it, I've said. There's an English woman, by the way, but we've been married for 53 years now too. And I was saying to her that what was it well, that's the way it is, I'm afraid, what I was saying today, I've forgotten. But sea angling owes its existence in a way to the Irish Federation of Sea Anglers. This mob here, there's their badge, and this is the Ulster Provincial Council, of which I have the distinct honour to be the president. The only president Ulster will ever have, incidentally, which is, I suppose, in political terms might cause trouble. be that as it may, I couldn't help thinking that the last announcement about the ferry, which came, I think, yesterday or the day before, in something. My memory is no good anymore, but anyway, it was mentioned. I remember when it was first mentioned, it was quite a while ago. But there is some hope, I think, that that will come about now. And it'll help even sea angling, because you can issue spare lines and I suppose, well no, you better not give out the logs because that would be too much. But lines could be dished out at the other side of McGilligan and they could start fishing coming across and pretend that it was something unknown to them. But I think, yes, there is hope for the estuary and the territory around. And of course you could always form a branch of the kittiwakes. And if you get the ladies to set themselves up as sea anglers, then you're undoubtedly into the forefront of sea angling. Because you'll get publicity apart from anything else. And you get all sorts of other things as well. And my Katie, of course, is a better angler than I am, but she also encouraged her three sons, I think. They're in those films, curiously. I don't think they've ever done any real sea angling, but they're in the films anyway. And I'm hoping that the European source of help, which has been showing itself lately, will come to the aid of this territory in this respect, even as far as sea angling is concerned. But the main effort comes from yourselves, there's no doubt about this. Whether you form the kittiwakes or whether you form the existing club, which is a sea angling club. The point is that you'll get enthusiasm amongst those who take part in the sea angling. And once you get that, people start fishing. It's difficult to decide between angling and fishing. There's no real difference at all. But the ideas that come from people who enjoy fishing, sea fishing, that is. I'm not talking about fishing, river or lake fishing and so on, but sea angling. And you can get plenty of that right the way out from here, way out and round, and that way and that way. And you don't go very far until you come to Joe Mullen and his crowd around the Causeway Coast. And Joe's always helpful as well. And all around in Donegal, we have clubs. I've forgotten them, we have. I know that, isn't there a total? Oh, yeah. 60. Yeah, well, anyway, you can see that there are quite a number of clubs in Ulster, that is. This includes the whole of Ulster. We never took any notice of the board or anything like that. And the anglers don't seem to take any notice of it either. But, however, I would strongly say get into the idea of taking part and helping and becoming sources of inspiration to the club itself and to those who form the club, and get them fishing, get them angling. And after that, you never know what might happen. Even the European people might get interested. And I know very well, as a matter of fact, I used to meet Germans all over the place. Haben Sie etwas dagegen, wenn ich fragte? And this sort of, you see, they said, I was open with astonishment. See? I mean, they used to say, how did you learn to speak German? And I said, do you know how many sentences I have? Oh, well, you see, I said, but the accent's good, but I only have one sentence. And that sentence is, I do not know much German. But anyway, there is no doubt that the European sources at the present time are beginning to take an interest, and for sport and for sea angling particularly, there's no doubt about it, it exists. And our German friends undoubtedly take a great interest in sea angling. So all these things which don't mean much but are string together, I'm getting too old in the tooth. Another 3 months, 4 months is it? And I'll be 80. So there you are, you see.
Thank you very much, Bill. After that, as I say, Mr. Ty does want to set up, but it's just an opportunity now if anybody wants to add anything briefly.
Jerry, I'd like to thank the priest that stood up originally. He didn't remember me, but he married me 43 years ago last month.
God forgive you.
And that's how I was introduced. And the first time I fished, I came with red, white and blue feathers. And, you know, very unpopular, you know. That's the cause I'm very thankful for, or else I would never have had 40 years fishing in a bow, you know.
There seems to be some doubt when the club actually started. Well, Rafferty first got up the idea of the sea angling club at the early October 1957 at a development committee meeting, and we decided that we would ask the members of the Moville Development Committee and members of the Greencastle Development Committee to come together as a sea angling club. Now, we were not really interested in angling, we were interested in promoting tourism. And I think probably the first meeting of the actual club took place about December of 1957. The following Easter, we decided that we'd better get some fishing or get some idea of what fish were out there. There were 2 boats. They were set out from Greencastle to Foyle. He was on it, Benny Doherty, the area he was on it, and Ed McDonald. Anyhow, we had a very unsuccessful day and had nothing whatsoever in our boat. But the boat that Father Rafferty was on came back with a load of fish. And of course they got their photographs taken with them down in Greencastle Pier. But then when they left, we took the fish and we got our photographs taken. But it was afterwards that we discovered that these were actually caught by net, not by... As regards the club badge, I have a badge, one of the 2 badges. I'll give it to you. There.
Thank you, Tony. Thanks very much. It's open forum. I'm not asking anybody. It's only if you want to say something. Mr. Patrick Sweeney. No, there's no question. Fella, August.
No, I just would like to say that the only reason I'm here, I got a very amorous note from Paul McGee, who invited me here. And it was the first time ever I knew he could write. I thought I'd call to see what was happening.
I wasn't sober.
But I would like to thank Jerry and everybody associated with this evening, and everybody who has come along. There's just one thing, and it's the only one thing I'm going to say, that there, you know, when we were looking at him there was one character missing, and to me, he was the best skipper I was ever out with, and that was Roy Kirkman. And I will always remember him for one good year's fishing we had here, when he showed me, he wasn't depending on radar or sonar or anything else, but he showed me this place out on the deep where there was a round circle with an opening at one end of it, and we christened it Toby's Hole. And for that, I want to remember Roy Kirkland tonight. Thank you.
None of the ladies, or the women maybe.
Well, as I said, I'm not actually going to call upon anybody because of pressure of time. It's just if anybody wanted to say anything to finish off tonight. So.
Thank you.
I'd just like to add to what Father Rafferty has said there. I remember well on occasion when we went down to Westport to see how they're doing things, because that's one of the things that happened then. Westport started, and they had a man there, Brennan, who was a good publicist, and the papers were full of the Westport Sea Angling Festival. So Father Rafferty had this idea that we should have a Sea Angling Festival, and the both of us headed off down to Westport. And when I saw the Westport Festival, what they were doing with what they had, I said, we could do far, far better than that. First of all, the boats they had were not much better than punts. And the Clew Bay is full of wee islands. There's a whole series of channels, ships, I would have called it. And that's where the sea angling was. And they were catching, the time we were there, dogfish. We were actually literally up to our knees in dogfish in the boat. There were a lot of Frenchmen. Well, you mentioned the Frenchmen. There were Frenchmen and fishing that time. But whenever I saw that, I said, well, we are far better off in Moville and Greencastle, particularly Greencastle. No reason at all why we shouldn't have a good sea angling festival. And Father Rafferty then he kept plugging away at it. Now, I'll let you into a secret. Father Rafferty was hardly know one end of the boat from the other. He was hardly know one end of the fishing rod from the other, and the line from the other. I think it might have been his first experience that time in Clew Bay, and he couldn't understand why the line was there at one time and was right there at another time. It was a kind of an eddy and swirls and breezes moving the boats around. So anyway, it's from that the thing really got going. But in a sense, I always think there's been a big change in Moville from that time. It was a start of a whole new sort of optimism, a new spirit in Moville started that time. See too, at the time Brennan got this hotel too, and that was another thing. Father Rafferty was behind that too, pushing that there should be a good, he needed a good hotel if you're going to have a sea angling festival, and he kept pushing Brennan to do something about it. That's how this came about. So, but that's the way back in those days. I was interested in what Bill was saying, the fact that, you know, we should be going for European help and also going for European anglers and that sort of thing. And I must commend the work that was done, you know, tonight, all those films, marvellous bit of work, sort of thing I used to think about myself. I'd love to be able to do that sort of, and it's not so easy. You need, you know, it's a specialised job. But with that thing that you had there last Wednesday, with good editing, and that could be cut down to a small one, that would be a tremendous advertisement for Moville and for the sea angling here. So I want to commend you very highly for that, and to thank you for the evening. Most enjoyable.
Thank you very much. Well, as I say, Mr. Tye goes on to get set up for a bit. I just have to say one more thing. Thank you to everybody who came, because without you coming, we would have been right in it. So thank you very much. Okay, and good night.